Okay, you can see my assistant professor. Oh, he's sitting up now. Get your ears messed up. My assistant professor over there helping me out. We want to go on a walk tonight. All right, so we left with the contextualization. Like I said, when I click, this whole thing's going to drop down. Don't worry, those of you listening, your reward is you don't have to write it all down. I'll tell you what to write down, but I want us to read it together. Okay, now I'm BSing with finesse here. And so here's what I put. Since the discovery of farming, I went way back to the Neolithic Revolution. Government had looked for a source of labor where it was war captives, slaves. You can mention slavery, but you need to have other stuff in there too. Family members of their own people. In North America, the natives used family members to work, sometimes war captives. You know, I'm just talking about the different kinds of labor systems they had. When the Europeans came, they used slavery, the Ecumunda system, and the Meta system, these last two in South America. I'm trying desperately to get that point, and so I'm going to mention those even though they're not North America to build context. Back in Europe, they used serfs, same thing. I'm going for the point. The Atlantic system of the triangle trade brought, there's a T missing there. I did this in a hurry, slave, just like you will be. You're going to be writing in a hurry too. Brought slaves to North America's shores. So I think that's kind of weak in spots, but it'll probably get you the 1 point. I went back and looked at my AP World Scores from last year. I was very happy that I had a 51% pass rate. And what they did, they ranked Mr. Russell students compared to the students in Florida. And the thesis, which I think I'm pretty good at, was exactly the same. I was right on par. The only part of the DBQ, now remember I had a 51% pass rate, so it's not surprising that I'm equal to the rest of the state. We're only 1% above, the 50% mark. The only area my students were above was contextualization. My students had a higher average than they did because I teach this big picture system. Anyway, this should get you the point. So this would be question number 1. Now I'm doing this differently here. I'm showing you how I want it to look piece by piece. But when you're answering my 5 questions, because remember, we're going to do a whole bunch of these before we get to your exam. As I've told you before, if I'm healthy in here, you will be ready for this exam. All right, so 1 point, question 1. All right, we already did the thesis. And my thesis, if I did the rest of it as good as I did C, would get you the point. Now we're getting into the body paragraphs. And here's what you got to understand. In your thesis, you'd make 2 or 3 points. So here's what you're going to do. Let's say you made 3 points. You're going to do 3 body paragraphs. You're going to use topic sentences. The first one, you're going to refer back to point A. Second one, point B. Third one, point C. If you do a 2-part thesis, you're going to only have 2 body paragraphs. Now here's what's going to happen. In each body paragraph, you're going to analyze all the documents you think make point A. And you're going to do as many times as you can caps. Remember, you can get up to 2 points for caps if you do 2 caps accurately. If you do all 5 caps and you miss 3 and get 2 right, you still get the 2 points. So you're going to analyze the documents, then you're going to do caps, and at the very tail end of that paragraph, you're going to do outside evidence. And this is the part so many kids don't understand. So I really hope you're listening to the audio here. But let's go with the easiest point on the whole DBQ, the analysis. All you have to do is do a topic sentence and discuss what's in the document. Okay, so here we go. Here's the topic sentence. Remember, you don't, for contextualization, I never told you which line to write down, did I? Just write the last one. The Atlantic system, the last one. All right, moving on. Body paragraph. Here it is. As stated above, one reason that indentured servants came is because they were recruited by governments. So I'm referring back to C. In other words, I'm arguing. I said, here's my 3 points. All right, let me clarify my 3 points. That gets you once you go through these documents, that gets you there's 3 argumentation points coming up here. Okay, this is illustrated in document 1. Remember to circle the document numbers. Parentheses is the best I can do with a computer. Many were unhappy in their home countries, and so governments tried to get them to relocate. They would be a source of cheap labor, and many were told it would be easy for them to get land and work after they were set free. The records show they came in the thousands for this economic opportunity. If you analyze 2 documents, you get 1 point. So let me see on my 5 questions. This is question number 3. Okay. All right, done. Now let's do sourcing. And what I did was, this was a big DBQ. with like 12 or 13 documents. Back in the day, 15 years ago, they had big DBQs. They whittled them down to 7 documents, and this year you're only getting 5. So I picked one that would be easy for you to do caps on. By the way, I don't know if you noticed this, the videos you watched last week all had to do with labor systems. So I did this on purpose. I had you, some of you are just watching those videos and writing down, you're going through them as quick as you can. You are really shooting yourself in the foot. Okay. Anyway, you really need to take time with this because you have a lot riding on this. Okay. Those of you who took AP Geography last year, some of you didn't pass, and you know exactly. You sit in this class for a whole year. You want to pass this. I know some of you did pass, but those of you who didn't pass any AP exams, some of you I know were in those other classes, you know how much it hurts. Guys, you've been in here for a whole year. Let's get this done. Anyway, you spent 3 sentences analyzing the document. Let's look at what's unique about the person. Now you can do audience, you can do purpose, but let me just tell you, this guy works for a government. He works for them, and he's getting paid to work for them, and he wants that government to look good. So they need workers, so they're pushing this indentured servitude. He is not likely to get out there and say it's bad. Now remember, you don't call him a liar, but you just say, hey, he's got a reason to give, say this isn't so bad. Okay. But remember, it's got to be, I got to get my hands up here. It's got to be 2-part. The first part, then the second part. Okay. So let's see what I did here. Again, when I click, there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff dropping down. Now, I got a little bored today because I've been working for like 6 hours on a Sunday on this. It should be noted this document was written by a government official. Here's the first thing, representing a country that needed laborers. So here comes the second part. So he may have made things sound a lot better than they actually were. And I wrote purpose here, just so the person reads this, or point of view. This is his point of view. But then, I was kind of bored. I threw this in. By the way, AP readers like it when you talk personal. Don't try to use too much slang, but here's what I put. I said, it's like a dentist who gets paid to take out bad teeth, telling you it won't hurt before he puts the pliers in and yanks the whole side of your face off. Now, I don't know that you're going to get a point for saying that, but it's pretty much the same thing. This guy has a vested interest. I had a stress test, where you get on one of these machines, they hook all these electrodes up to your heart. And I had a cousin who died during his stress test. So last summer I had a stress test. And I told the doctor, I said, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm scared of these things. I'm 50 pounds overweight or more. And my cousin died doing one of these. And the doctor says, it's easy. He goes, those are the hard ones. It's easy. Let me tell you, he was not being straight with me. The nurses told me the same thing when they were wiring me up. Oh, this is nothing. It was something. So I'm just saying, it's not necessarily that they're lying, but they're getting paid to do this. They have a vested interest. So just say it like that. But remember, it's got to be 2-part. Okay? All right, now, so this would be question 4. And the only thing, so at this point, based on my 5-point rubric, my mini rubric, you have 4 points, which I'm giving you, that's 40 points out of 50. The next one is the hard one. Okay? And this is what I think a lot of kids don't understand. The outside evidence, some of you are just throwing in facts, and they're nice facts, but these facts have to be part of your argument C. Okay, I hope you are paying attention here. Write this in capital letters underneath number 9. I hope you are paying attention here. Okay, this is the hardest part of all this. Now, what is my argument C? My argument C is one of the causes of indentured servitude is that governments were recruiting them. So I need to come up with that. And I'm going to just tell you, the argument I'm about to show you is weak. But you remember me talking about the high bar and the low bar. Most kids cannot do this. So, and we think that the College Board, remember, this is a business. The College Board who's writing this exam, this is not the government of Florida. This is a money-making corporation. Everybody's feeling bad now because the schools are shut down. A lot of kids don't have Wi-Fi. Some of you are stuck at home babysitting your 5 siblings and you're trying very hard to do your schoolwork. So a lot of us think that the College Board, is trying to they still want to have about 50% of the kids pass. So my bear story comes in here. You don't need to outrun the bear. You need to outrun everybody else. I'm telling you, Most kids do not understand this. So what is your argument? Your argument is something to prove that governments were recruiting people, something that wasn't in the documents. And here's what I was saying when I went on that tangent there. My argument is very weak, but it's very likely so many kids are not going to be able to do this that they're going to have a low bar. So at least make the attempt. A lot of you, when you look at your grades that I emailed you back, you're going to see, well, I don't know if this will work, but I gave you credit anyway. I did that a lot. Some of you had some really good facts. And I said, you know what, I'm going to give you the point for it anyway. Let's hope that they will be lenient with you. But anyway, here we go. Once again, don't pass out. I'm not going to make you write all this down. Oh, what should you write down for body paragraph 3? Just write down the dentist quote. Okay. Some of you I know are good students, already wrote the whole thing down. Same thing on the next one. I'll give you one sentence to write. I want you reading it. Okay, I want you to write this down. This is tough. This is difficult. I want you trying it. I want you getting in the habit of doing this. It must be something that backs up argument C. Let me give you a little speech here, because I'm looking at the thing. We're at 11:09 in the video. This thing can go up to 15 minutes before the program shuts off. So the thing is a lot of my Euro kids, and a lot of kids are pretty cocky that they can do a DBQ. You've heard me say that I'm confident that my kids can do a DBQ, but I'm going to tell you, as a reader, the grade most kids get on a DBQ is a 2 or a 3. Most kids cannot knock out a 4 or 5. And so if you are cruising into this thinking DBQs are easy, you may get your feelings hurt when you get your score this summer. So my thing is, let's overperform. I told you, if I'm healthy and I'm here, you'll be ready. I'm going to do everything I can. I'm trying to give you about 30 or 45 minutes worth of work a day. And I would really like to watch the rest of those videos. The Heimler history, I could have made my own, but he's good. That guy's really good. He's going right down the standards. And I want to make sure you get this done, because it's going to make you look good. And it may make me look good, but I don't need any help looking good. All right, let's finish this up. So I want you to try this. So when I click, I'm going to show you what I came up with, and I was blowing smoke like crazy. So here we go. I'm going to read it. It is obvious that these governments needed workers. Sometimes they wanted people removed from their own countries. The British sent convicts to Australia just to get rid of them. Now, that's not indentured servitude, but I'm just trying to get a point here by saying these governments did things. In Georgia, and I don't know if I told you this story, but it's U.S. history. The founder was a guy named Oglethorpe. And what he did in England, if you wrote a bad check or you couldn't pay your $100 bill, they put you in jail until you could pay your bills. Well, if you're in jail, you can't make any money. So it was a life sentence. So he felt sorry for them. So he paid their debts if they would come work for him. They were indentured servants. They didn't pay him. He paid their debts, and they came to work for him. And there's a couple things going on here. I'm getting off into American history. But basically, he recruited them. He said, hey, let me pay your debts. But he did the English government a favor by getting these people out of prison, because now they don't have to pay for the prison, and they get these people who weren't paying their bills out of their country. Anyway, here's another thing. The Pilgrims and the Puritans didn't like the way the King of England was running his church, the Anglican church. I don't know if I went over this with you or not. So they came over. They weren't indentured servants, but they came over, and it made their government happy. Now, I've already admitted to you this is kind of a weak argument, but you can see me desperately. I'm glad it's weak. I want you to see this. You can see me desperately trying to get this point, just pulling stuff out of thin air. I think the AP world readers this year will respect that. All right, which sentence do I want you to write? The one about the British sent convicts to Australia just to get rid of them. All right, and we're done. And remember, I'm going to give you a chance to pull up that last grade if you did it. All right, talk to you soon.